At the outset, we've got some great news. The Indian men's hockey team has won the bronze medal in the Olympic Games. They have beaten Spain 2-1. It was a fitting finale, a farewell match for Srijesh, who has, of course, led Team India to glory in the past as well. Remember, India had won the bronze 4 years ago in the Tokyo Olympics as well. So they were, in the sense, defending their bronze medal. And today, they came back from behind. They were 1 goal behind to Spain, and they came back from behind to win 2-1. Right after that stupendous victory, Prime Minister Modi spoke with the victorious Indian team. Listen in to a short excerpt of that conversation, and then we'll start off the show.
सर ये हरमन के पास है
सर नमस्कार नमस्कार सर नहीं शुक्रिया सर थैंक यू सर थैंक यू जी सर
मैं आपको और पूरी टीम को बहुत बहुत बधाई
शुक्रिया सर थैंक यू
बहुत भारत का नाम रोशन किया आपने और आपको याद होगा मैंने टोक्यो में कहा था आपको
जी सर
कि आपने पराजय की पूरी श्रृंखला को तोड़ा है
जी सर
और अब आपके नेतृत्व में और आपकी पूरी टीम के प्रयासों से इस बार भी हमने प्रगति की है और मुझे पक्का विश्वास है कि अब हॉकी क्योंकि वो पुराना जो स्वर्णिम काल था
जी सर
वो फिर से आप लोग वापिस लेके आएंगे तो मुझे पक्का विश्वास हो गया है
जी बिल्कुल सर बिल्कुल लेके आएंगे सर थैंक यू सर
हमारे श्रीजे से
जी सर
घोषित कर दी है
जी साथ में ही है सर कर लीजिए सर
हेलो सर
श्रीजे है
यस सर श्रीजेश बात कर रहा हूँ सर
कैसे हो भैया
एकदम बढ़िया सर कंग्रेचुलेशन सर
बधाई हो आपको
थैंक यू सर थैंक यू
आपकी कमाल आपने निवृत्ति घोषित कर दी आखिरी व्यक्ति
यस सर
लेकिन आपको नई टीम तैयार करनी होगी भैया
यस सर
देखिए मैं एक बार तो आज जरूर कहना चाहूंगा 10 खिलाड़ियों के साथ ब्रिटेन की लड़ाई आपकी
अच्छा
मुझे लगता है हिंदुस्तान का हॉकी को समझने वाला हर बच्चा इसको हमेशा याद रखेगा
थैंक यू सर
और इसको एक उदाहरण के रूप में माना जाएगा और मैं मानता हूं कि दुनिया में भी हॉकी की चर्चा होगी तो ये आपकी क्वार्टर फाइनल के मैच का तो जरूर जिक्र आएगा
थैंक यू सर
थैंक यू सर
और मैं सच बता दूं अच्छा टीम स्पिरिट भी दिखाई दिया और आपने बिल्कुल जमकर के और मैं देखा कि एक बार हारने के बाद थोड़ा मोरल डाउन हो जाता है लेकिन आपने 24 घंटे में फिर से अपने आप को रिकवर करके पूरी ताकत से निकल पड़े आप लोग
यस सर
जी सर
देखिए देश को बड़ा गर्व हो रहा है आप लोगों पर और मेरी तरफ से बहुत बहुत बधाई है सबको
थैंक यू वेरी मच सर
सबकी तबीयत तो ठीक है ना कोई इंजर नहीं हुई
नहीं सर सब एकदम बढ़िया सर सब लोग इधर आपको सुन रहे सर सब खुश है सब आपका कॉल के इंतजार में था सर
मैं सबको मेरी तरफ से बहुत बहुत बधाई दे रहा भैया
All right, that was the Prime Minister's call with the victorious Indian hockey team. They won the bronze medal. They were defending the bronze medal. And like I said, it was an incredible victory coming from 1 goal down against Spain to win 2-1. But at the outset, I want to present to you these two contrasting pictures. On the one set of images that happened just earlier today, just earlier this evening, when the men's hockey team won the Olympic bronze medal, it was a fitting tribute to a man who has been literally at the vanguard of Indian hockey for the last 2 decades now. He's the goalkeeper. He's the grand old daddy of the Indian hockey team. Srijesh, this was his last match in India colours. Like I said, it was a come-from-behind victory against Spain 2-1. So that's on one side of your screen, on the far right. On the left side of your screen are pictures from the other night. A distraught Vinesh Phogat after being disqualified because she couldn't make weight. She lost, at the very least, an Olympic silver, if not an Olympic gold medal, because she was 100 grams overweight. These are the ups and downs of sport. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. The point is, and this is what we're debating tonight, is it fair to be reading conspiracies into these sporting matters? Is it fair to be seeing biases in sport where none exist? when we should actually be leaving our sportspersons to be doing what they do best, that is to compete, to fight, and to win medals for India, keeping them away from the political shenanigans. We'll debate that in just a moment, but first, the story so far today.
If her weight was okay when she fought 3 bouts and won all 3 in one day, how can it go up by 100 grams? If this is not a conspiracy, what is? Modi ji is only doing a consolation tweet. We don't want a consolation tweet from Prime Minister. We want justice from Prime Minister.
बड़ा झटका लगा है पूरे देश को, सभी युवाओं को और सभी को, क्योंकि हमारी एक्सपेक्टेशंस बहुत ज़्यादा थी और मैं समझती हूँ उसमें उच्च स्तरीय जांच होनी चाहिए कि जो डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन हुआ है वो आखिर क्यों हुआ है।
Right, so are athletes in the crossfire when they should be kept away from the political ring and should be competing within the Olympic ring? Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP, joining us. Smith Singh is spokesperson of the Congress Party. Alka Tomar, former wrestler, joining us. Deepa Malik is former para-athlete, Padma Shri and Arjuna Awardee. And also Mr. A.B. Subbaiah is former Indian hockey goalkeeper and coach and also an Arjuna Awardee. Thank you very much for joining us. Sanju Verma, so the contention you heard from Congress leaders, other opposition leaders, they're all saying that this whole thing is a conspiracy. Vinesh Phogat was done in because she had sat in a protest out in Jantar Mantar last year. The Modi government did not listen to her, and this whole thing was a conspiracy to rob her of a medal.
You know, Zaka, I don't claim to be an expert on sports, but I'm certainly a sports enthusiast, like most Indians are. And, I'll try and bring in first the views of some decorated players, be it, somebody like, say, Digvijay Singh Deo. He was, one of the torchbearers at the 2008 Olympics. Then you have Viren Rasquina today, who's put out a very interesting tweet, replete with facts. He's a decorated hockey player, was once upon a time the national hockey team head. Then you have the likes of Saina Nehwal, so on and so forth. First and foremost, let me just read out what Viren Rasquina has said, because I think sports persons understand the nuances of different games far better than you and me do, with no offense to you. Viren Rasquina says, he's put out a tweet in question-answer format, and he says, is there any possibility of sabotage? He says, 0 chance. Could Vinesh and team have done anything more? He gives a lengthy response to that, but says the doctor, nutritionist, coach, CMO, CDM, everyone was with her throughout the night and did everything they could.
Okay.
And then, at the other end of the spectrum, you have people like Saina Nehwal, again, a celebrated badminton champion in every sense of the term, who said that, Vinesh Phogat was not participating in Olympics for the first time, and she needs to take onus and responsibility for what happened. Now, I just want to say one thing, without giving a political color to this. It goes without saying Vinesh Phogat is a champion. She's won 2 world championships, 3 CWG championships, and 8 Asian championships. Be that as it may, let's be very clear. As a bona fide Indian, my heart goes out to her. I feel sad, I'm upset, I'm angry, I'm also anguished. But that does not take away from the fact that this entire Congress left cabal, which has been saying, "Arey sirf 100 gram hi to zyada tha weight. Sarkar ne kyun nahi kiya kuch?" Ignoramuses like Randeep Singh Surjewala and Derek O'Brien shouting, their lungs off. I want to say one thing, just this 20 seconds, Zaka, and this will put the entire thing in perspective. We all know that the greatest living athlete is Usain Bolt. He's perhaps the only one who's won 100 meters and 200 meters consecutively in 3 Olympics before he called it quits in 2016 after the Rio Olympics, which were his last. The man who took over from him was a man called Marcel Jacobs, who won the 100-meter sprint in the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, clocking 9.80 seconds. And guess what? This time in the Paris 2024 Olympics, Marcel Jacobs could not even win a bronze. He clocked 9.85 seconds and he finished fifth. But that's the nature of the beast. And more importantly, guess what?
All right.
The man who won, just 10 seconds more, the man who won the 100-meter sprint this time at Paris is an American called, Noah Lyles. He clocked 9.784 seconds. And the man who was runner-up, Kishan Thompson, clocked 9.789 seconds. I mean, kya antar hai between 9.784 and 9.789? But that is the difference between a gold, a silver, and getting absolutely nothing. So,
Okay, so let me go to
visualize.
Smith Singh of the Congress Party. Smith Singh, Vinesh is not the only person who got disqualified because of being overweight. There was an Italian wrestler in the same discipline who got disqualified because she was overweight. As far as the coaching staff, the dietitian, the nutritionist, physio, etc., were all chosen by Vinesh. Vinesh, in fact, competed in the trials both in the 50 kg and in the 53 kg. In the 53 kg, she lost to another national champion, Anshu, and then she competed in the 50, and that's how she went to Paris. Now, everything went by the rule book. Now, to ask for a conspiracy theory, isn't that doing great disservice, if not to anyone else, but to Vinesh herself? I mean, it's undermining her own effort.
I think it's a great disservice to all sportspersons, including Vinesh, to talk about so much about sports and what this athlete has said and what that athlete has said, and then tell every sportsperson you cannot engage with power structures that surround you. We all know the federations are run by politicians. We know these policy decisions are being made by politicians, but we are telling athletes you have no power to engage with what is happening here. Is the message we are giving all athletes who are going to the Olympics or future of India that is preparing to play for India? That no, you cannot talk about politics. We should see things in context. We are talking about a federation against whose president six adult athletes had a sexual harassment charge. One minor athlete had a sexual harassment charge. The Vinesh and other athletes were on streets, sleeping on streets for 40 days. And then an ad hoc committee says there will be trials even if an individual quota has been won. The quota goes to the country in all sporting events. And in this case, once Sanjay Singh returned as WFI president, they said there will be no trials for the Olympic Games. And whoever won the quota will go. And again, that trial that you're talking about was only to be among the top four, which Vinesh made in 53 category and the 50 category also. She went to the Paris Olympic Games not because she won those trials. She went to the Paris Olympic Games as per the policy because she was a quota holder in the 50 category. And when we come to 53, her chance to play the trials for the Olympics against the person who has won the quota was taken away. Now, that is the complete clarity, and that policy was changed. This is the policy change we are talking about. Now, you have to see the athlete's mind in this context.
One second. What does any of that have to do with what happened in the disqualification? She went through in the 50 qualifiers. She defeated, I believe, the world champion, the defending Olympic gold medalist, the European champion, the Pan American champion. She rightfully had her place in the final. Nobody is disputing any of that. Unfortunately, the rule book says you have to weigh in both on the first morning and the second morning. And unfortunately for her, despite her best efforts, the best efforts of her team, she fell 100 grams overweight. What has any of what you said got to do with the actual disqualification?
See, the things I've said have to do with this because that's the base you put it on, that there were trials and she went, and that was wrong. Now, coming to this specific thing. She had her perfect weight on the first day. She made it to the finals. She was disqualified on the day of the finals. The first thing is that if her weight was 100 grams extra, she went in the last minute to get the weight checked. So the whole country, it's not the Congress, the whole country wanted to know what went behind it. Could anything extra be done? Could her complete hair be cut? All these were questions raised by the whole country. I think the country is going in that mood to asking this question, and I think everybody has a right, even a sportsperson have a right to ask these questions and check what has happened. Now, coming to the weight category issue, it is very clear that she was having, even in 2016 Olympics, to cut weight. She was having this difficulty, and she was trying to get that trials for the Olympics in 53 category. That was not given to her. It is what Now
Okay.
we are talking about
So
not
these
we
are
are talking
two
about
separate. These are two separate matters. So let's
give me
not
an
confuse.
answer to that.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
Let me.
yeah,
Mr.
Congress is
Subbaiya.
lying.
Mr. Subbaiya has been sort of vigorously nodding his head. So Mr. Subbaiya, please respond to both of this. One on the, did she compete in the category that she wanted to, or was she unfairly denied that? And more importantly, I think the most pressing thing is there anything that could have been done differently by her or her team to actually have qualified for the final and not be disqualified for being 100 grams above the weigh in?
See, first of all, like no, we had a lot of discussion from yesterday with all of us top sports persons regarding this issue. Everybody, first thing, the Congress or any opposition party who are saying this is a conspiracy, they should go and read the rules book about this all age and weight category related sports like boxing, wrestling, and judo. See, it is nothing in anybody's hand. If they're saying anybody mixed anything or anything they have done in our food, it is not possible. They're all in the Olympic village where each and everything is checked and left it. And when she has surrounded by their own support staff, there is no chance for all this. I think earlier, all these people, they were all behind our armed forces. Please spare the sports person. Actually, I am very pity with Vinesh Phogat because last 2 years they used her as a tool for all this, and she has to undergo many things. What we are discussing today, it's development of the sports politics into the sport.
Okay.
At this moment, think big and just say this is the rules and regulation is set by the world body which everybody follows. And Vinesh is not the first instance where they're disqualified due to the weight.
Yeah.
There is a many instance. So they should understand this, and they should definitely should go through their regulations, what is there, read before they make it as a conspiracy.
So let me
please.
ask Deepa Malik, as somebody who has competed at the very highest level of the Paralympics, you know, this whole thing about seeing conspiracies where perhaps none exist, more than that, about, you know, dragging in sports persons for political point scoring. And sport has always been, you know, politicized in this country, whether it is cricket or other Olympic sports. I mean, I can go on a list of, you know, how many instances there have been where politicians have used sport. I mean, to start with, most sporting bodies are controlled by politicians. Forget about anything else. But to use them and use what I would call a national tragedy like what has happened with Vinesh to score political points, should we not be putting our sports and sports persons away from this kind of point scoring?
What I want to say here is when an athlete goes out to play, the athlete carries only the tricolor and not the flag of any particular party or emblem of a party. Athlete is always an athlete for the country, playing for the country. So it's a humble request to everybody, because I'm an athlete and I say that please do not get politics into anything. And now talking about Vinesh, we all feel for her. Our hearts have shattered. Her tears are our tears. And today I think we should all focus on her mental well-being on her return. What has happened are part of the rules and regulations, and this is not the first time something like this has happened. If we take the case of Shiva Keshwan, he has been a 6-time Winter Olympian from India. And if you see his social media handles, it says 100th of a second. Now, he missed his medal by 100th of a second. I can speak about Vinod. He won the medal at the Paralympics, but the medal was taken away after the declaration, after everybody tweeted for him, because there was a medical protest. And when his muscle groups, which when he began training were found weak, but by the time he prepared for the Paralympics and the muscles improved, and his medal was taken away. So there are many instances where by virtue of the rules of the particular game, athletes have to come to such fate, for which one should be prepared and take it gracefully in their stride. And we as Indians should applaud her hard work, what she has accomplished there. by the 3 consecutive wins. It has won all our hearts, but her loss has been a great loss, but doesn't mean that there was a conspiracy or any such kind of a thing. I think let us
Okay.
not um, lower her struggle or her success by adding these derogatory aspects to it. Just
Okay.
celebrate her journey and
So,
be there to welcome her and be her support.
So, Sanju Verma, there are 2 points of attack from the opposition on the government, the WFI. One is, of course, the fact that Vinesh and other wrestlers were sitting out on protest. The WFI did not listen to them. The government did not listen to them. They even went to the extent of some of them drowning their medals and returning their awards and so on and so forth. So that's one. They're saying that they were anyway, the WFI and the government were daggers drawn with these athletes. That's number one. The second part is that, okay, fine, she was over 100 grams after having qualified for the final. Isn't there anything that the WFI or the IOA can do to ensure that she at least gets the silver? Coming back empty-handed, that is, I think, what has broken everyone's hearts.
Zaka, I will again quote from what Viren Raskvina says. He asks a question, could she have at least got the silver medal? To which the limited response, he says, is this, saying that, you're suffering injury or you're unfit and then claiming a silver medal is just not possible because you have to be certified unfit by the tournament director. Point number one. Point number two, even if you're certified unfit, saying that, XYZ, Vinesh Phogat in this case has an injury, you have to still mandatorily go in for the weighing. And if during the weighing you don't make the cut, then despite the injury, despite being supposedly unfit, you cannot get that coveted silver medal. So in Vinesh Phogat's case, while, we will get to know in a couple of hours, the entire story, but the fact of the matter is she did not make that second weight cut, and even assuming she had said that she's unfit or she suffers an injury, she would still not have qualified from that point of view for the silver medal. But my final point is this. I'm reading out this is a very interesting article. I'll just read out 4 lines by the Tribune. And Tribune is anti-Modi, we all know that, but be that as it may. The journalist here says that as per the United World Wrestling UWW rules, there is Article 7 which clearly states each contestant should be taking part at his or her own free will in only one qualifying category and will be responsible himself or herself and will be allowed to compete in only that particular category. But in the case of Vinesh Phogat, she was actually allowed to compete in both the 50 kg qualifiers and the 53 kg qualifiers, which means, Zaka, let your audience know, rather than being vindictive, the Modi government actually gave a whole long rope to Vinesh Phogat कि मैडम आप एक 50 kg या 53 kg ही नहीं, आप दोनों कैटेगरीज के क्वालिफाइंग राउंड्स में compete कीजिए और फिर आपको जहां सुविधा लगे, within the broader framework, you go and compete in the Olympics.
So
government
Smith Singh,
will give you such a long road?
that is the moot point, that the ad hoc committee made an exception, went against what was conventional norm, that one wrestler is only allowed to compete in one category. They allowed Vinesh to compete both in the 50 kg and in the 53 kg. Because she had insisted and she was worried that the Wrestling Federation of India's commitment was wavering on holding a selection trial. So they made an exception, allowed her to compete in both. In one of it, she won, which is the 50 kg, and the other she lost. It's as simple as that.
Okay, so 3 points. First of all, directly coming on what you just said, her wavering idea that the trials might not be held for Olympics came out right. There was no trials for the Olympic to going to the Olympic Games. That trial were only to come in the top 4, which she came in both categories. She went to the Olympic Games because she won an individual quote on 50 kg category, not because of winning that trial. That is very clear in the same article. Number 2, this idea that all the panelists are talking about, the sports person should be kept away from sports, away from politics. Everyone here is talking about politicians engaging in sports policy, politicians engaging in federations, politicians making rules for sportspersons, and now we are telling that sportspersons cannot engage and ask questions. What is so wrong with this? If athletes wants to ask questions of how policy is made, who's drafting it, who's doing all this, I think they also have a right to do this. Now, coming to the last point, see, there is an athlete of Kenya, Faith Kipchoge. She was disqualified from a silver medal. The whole Kenyan federation, everyone came on the ground. They protested, and her silver medal was reinstated. In our case, Vinesh went there in the last minute, got the weight checked. The time was over after that. She had a half an hour, but she went in the last minute. We don't know. We all want clarity on why it was the last minute. But still, in next 15-20 minutes, the IOA said now she's disqualified, and the press statement came out. Instead of fighting there, protesting there, asking for the time, that is the second thing the country is worried about. Why was this done? Now we have to see all this in the history of the context of her relation with the federation.
Mr. Smith Singh, what could the IOA have done? They already made a petition. They already made a case for Vinesh. What else could they have done?
They made a petition after they announced a disqualification, unlike Kenya, which protested there asking that the Kenyan athlete stepped into the line of another athlete. So their protest was, yes, she stepped in, but the other athlete is not medal winning, so allow our athlete to win the silver medal. And first she was disqualified, then it was taken back. If you protest there in that moment and say, okay, give us this time, that is the moment of the fight.
Okay.
After disqualification has been done.
Yeah, one second, Sanju. Let the athletes respond to this. Mr. Subbaiah, was not an enough case made to defend Vinesh's case, to try and at least ensure that she gets the silver medal? The contention that the opposition spokesperson is making is that the IOA did not even put up a fight. Before they moved the petition, they put out the statement that she's been disqualified because she was overweight by 100 grams.
Zaka, one I'll tell about our spokesperson was saying that we never said the politician should not be in sports. We are not saying that, but using a sportsperson as a tool should not be done. Okay, and moreover, I'm saying SOP is clear. Rules, regulation is given to each and every participating country. Each and every athlete will know what is the right, what is the wrong, how much weight you can possess, not even a 10 grams, leave about the 100 grams in this. Because there is a lot of advantage. Nobody can take advantage over the opponents, like in the age. So what I feel that it's a sheer bad luck of hers that she could not come back within 100 this thing. That's what clearly rule says, that she'll be disqualified. If this is the finals or whatever, she'll be the last among all the medalists, because if she gets disqualified. This is the rules is set, and it is not set during the Olympics. It is there for any competition. World Organization has already set. Same thing is in hockey. Many rules which we know, everything is set, and it is forwarded to all the countries,
Okay.
and every coach, support staff, everybody knows about this.
Yeah, what are you saying, Mr. Singh?
Very quickly. My quick answer to this. Everyone on the panel here is using sports as a tool for today's discussion. Let's stop accusing one person. I believe athletes have a right to talk about politics if politics is deciding their lives.
That's a different orientation. Let me get Deepa Malik, please. Deepa Malik, you know, the irony of this is, for whatever reason, she was not able to compete in 53, and assuming that that's the category that she wanted to compete in or represent India in the Olympics, the person who was sent there under the quota system, then this is the ultimate irony. Antim Pangal lost in her first round 10-0, which is fair enough. It happens in sport. But what was worse was she and her entire contingent, her support staff, had to be sent back because her sister tried to sneak into the Olympic Village using her ID card. And this is, just weeks after Paris itself. There was that whole terror threat, the railway attack, and all of that happened. You can imagine the level of security. Now, people are turning around and saying, was this the best person to represent India in that category?
I think too many things are happening together. Talking about politics in sports, it is not about politicians not engaging themselves, because at the end of the day, they are the rulers, they are the chosen representatives of the people, by the people, for the people, and for formulation of policies. So their engagement to better the sport is definitely required. But the term politics is politicizing sports. I think that is something which should not happen. Now coming to, Olympic squad is being led by experts. The chef de mission himself is a 4-time Olympian.
Yeah.
PT Usha ji herself is a very experienced athlete who has given her entire life to creating new sports persons and creating the ecosystem of sports aiming towards Olympics. So this is a very qualified set of people who have gone there, who are the custodians of all the athletes. There
Okay.
are defined rules. Experts have gone there. So let's not debate over something which is not in control of anybody else other than the rules and regulations which are very clearly defined of a particular sport at the highest level of sporting event.
All right. I'm going to leave it at that. Sanju Verma, last 10 seconds.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
really have to wrap up and take a
Thank
break.
you.
Yeah, 10
Zaka,
seconds.
my last point is
Give me
only
5.
this. Please, my last point is only this. The BJP has never politicized. But look at the Congress. The moment Saina Nehwal joined the BJP, they started trolling her. The moment PT Usha was made a Rajya Sabha member by the BJP, PT Usha's credibility was blown to smithereens by the Congress ecosystem. The moment Anju Bobby George hailed Narendra Modi for encouraging our sports fraternity, Anju Bobby George's credibility was undermined by the Congress cabal. This is the same Congress
Okay.
cabal which used to speak about
All
Mary
right.
Kom.
5 seconds,
The moment
Smith Singh. I
BJP
really,
made
really
Mary
have to
Kom
wrap
the
up.
Rajya Sabha
Commercial
member,
break
they
next.
started
5
protecting
seconds.
Mary
What
Kom.
IT
5
cell
seconds.
has done to Vinesh, Bajrang Punia and Sakshi Malik on the streets of Delhi, we all know. What BJP did to them, we
Bajrang
all know.
Punia
Okay,
has
all right.
admitted.
That's it.
Number-
That's
number
it. Thank you very
two.
much. Thank you. Time out. That's a wrap. Like I said, I'm a firm believer that ultimately we should keep politics away from the sporting arena because the sports persons are there to fight, to compete, and hopefully to win medals for the country. Everybody else should keep their, vested interests or their narrow differences away from the sporting arena.